Hi, I'm Khairil and Bahar, and yeah, it's been a long time. Now, I know it's been a long time since I've done one of these Wednesday Lensday things. I think the last one was maybe about a year or so ago when I was doing one for the Shot Pro app. And there's been a lot of reasons for this. I mean, first and foremost is the fact that I got married recently. Yeah, I got married, folks. There was also the release of my very first mainstream movie, Showdown, which came out around the second quarter of this year, which did so-so. But that was something that I was working on a lot in the post as well last year. And of course, there's also, everyday jobs. Another reason why I haven't really been doing much of the Wednesday Lensdays is because been in a weird headspace. And I wasn't sure whether I wanted to continue doing them, but because of a whole bunch of responses from a lot of you guys that have been watching, I just thought, why not? I thought it'd be nice to just start doing these again and get back into the habit of shooting these little videos because they are fun. And on top of that, there's been a pretty good response. I mean, I'm not making like PewDiePie numbers or anything, but there are people that have been kind of digging this stuff, and I'm really sorry I haven't been getting back to a lot of the comments and questions, which is kind of why I wanted to do this video in the first place before I continue to the Wednesday Lensdays. So I could answer some of those more general questions and get back to a whole bunch of people at the same time, because I haven't been replying on YouTube comments for like a year, which I'm really, really sorry about. But on the plus side, a lot of people that have been commenting on them have also been replying to some of the comments and answering some of the questions. So to all the people that have been helping and answering a bunch of the queries that pop up, thank you so much. I also got to say thank you to a bunch of people that have actually been subtitling some of the episodes. That's really appreciated. Thank you again. And of course, all the people that have been complimenting the episodes as well and getting some information from them. I pretty much learned a whole bunch of the things that I know off the internet. So it feels good to be able to give a little bit of that back. And a bunch of the videos I'm going to do is basically just trying to do more stuff that hopefully people can use as reference. So yeah, without further ado, let's go to the questions. One of the things, I think one of the main bunch of videos that a lot of people have been checking out that have led people to my YouTube channel is probably the anamorphic ones. Simon Says TV asks, which do you prefer, 1.33 or 2? I really like the look of the 2 times anamorphic because of the way it stretches, because of the way it flares. But that being said, I prefer using the 1.33 SLR Magic Anamorphic as opposed to the 2 times SLR Magic. Mainly because it's that super long image and it's also a lot bigger. So it does feel kind of like, wow, this is a big bulky thing to use, Kish Digital asks, any vignetting on a 24mm on BMPCC with the anamorphic lens? No, but when I used it with diopters, with the SLR Magic diopters that they made for the anamorphic lenses, yeah, there was a bit on the sides because the barrel of the diopters is pretty thick. But if you don't have anything else on the anamorphic lens, no vignetting at all. It looks clean. Tony Dupre asked, is there a cheap alternative? Because the SLR Magics, they're still not that cheap. They're more affordable than a high-end anamorphic lens, but they're still more expensive than most projection lenses that you can find on eBay. The thing is, with projection lenses, there are other things that you have to take into account, which will be answered in this next question that I answer. Mr. Welshvid? I don't know how to pronounce that one, sorry about that, asked, why is this better than a projection lens for much cheaper? That's actually a pretty good question. And in my experience, the main reason why using something like the SLR Magic Anamorphic is better than a projection lens in practical usage is because projection lenses usually have a very far minimum focus distance because they're designed to project something at a distance. Usually the closest that they can focus to is maybe a lot of them are 4 to 5 feet. So if you're gonna get any closer than that, you're gonna have to start using diopters. Case in point is with my Bell & Howell, which can only focus, I think, 5 to 6 feet away, or maybe even more, I can't remember, but it's not very close. I actually had to build some kind of way to put a diopter on there just so that I can focus closer than that distance. So that's where things get tricky. Whereas when you're using the SLR Magic Anamorphic, you get a closer focusing distance, you have that normal to near ring on top of it to focus even closer, and then of course you put diopters, and they've already got threads at the front for you to put diopters. With projection lenses, you usually have to get a lot more accessories to make it really work, and then things start piling up in price. The thing is about projection lenses, they have their own unique feel as well. They have a very unique look to them as well because a lot of them are pretty old glass. They have interesting coating. The focusing distance for me is the big game changer on that one. A51 asked an interesting question. trying to get the 40mm Panavision 70s look with an APS-C sensor size camera, like an S35 sensor size camera. Now, one thing I found, I used the Sony FS100 with the SLR Magic Anamorphic. I used it on a 35mm with a focal reducer. So a 35mm on APS-C would usually be more equivalent to a 50. Now the focal reducer gets it closer to full frame, which kind of turns it into like a 38-40. It's very wide, vignettes at the side a bit, but it's kind of closer to that look. Interestingly, people ask like how to de-squeeze the footage. I mean, there's two ways. If you have, let's say in your editing software, a filter which can squish down or stretch out the image, you can use that and just adjust the levers until you get it right. Alternatively, like to me, one thing that I do, which is doable on Vegas, I'm not sure about other software, is on Vegas, I right click and I choose the pixel aspect ratio as 1.33. And then it'll automatically just turn it into the correct image size. So yeah, Will Holcroft asked, how sharp is the 135? I actually use the 135 Carl Zeiss Jena quite a bit, more than the Canon FD one. I've used the FD one for maybe a couple of shots in 1 or 2 short films. The 135 Carl Zeiss Jena f3.5, I've actually used that for a bunch of photography, for some videos, and I'm really impressed with it. Actually, I really like the look of it. For a lens that I got as like a 3 lenses in 1 lot on eBay for a pretty cheap price, that was a great lens buy. Interestingly, a bunch of people asked where I'm from. Some people asked, like, am I Indonesian, am I Malaysian or Singaporean? Well, as Apiswi commented, yep, I'm Malaysian. I live in Kuala Lumpur in Tawantun, and this is where I'm based as a filmmaker. Finally, I'm gonna go on to 2 subjects which are just general subjects about the videos. The first one being swearing. I started noticing some comments about my swearing when I talk. The one that really sticks to mind, the one that I wrote down, was from David Reams, who says, and I quote, "I just wish that I could feel comfortable sharing this with the younger members of my family," and then later asks, is the adult language really necessary to make your points effectively? Now, some people have voiced how they like the swearing, that they're okay with it, and this was actually a question that I was thinking about for a long time, because I naturally swear. You know, that's kind of how I talk. If you can't tell by the fact that I like to wear hockey jerseys a lot, I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. And if you know anything about Kevin Smith movies, you know that the only PG movie he did was Jersey Girl. And I did think long and hard about this. I talked to other people like, should I censor myself? Should I try and control the swearing? A bunch of people told me I shouldn't censor it. But I'm thinking about it, and I figured what I'm gonna do, what I thought would be a good compromise, was to treat every video like it was rated PG-13. And if you've ever watched the movie Be Cool, the sequel to Get Shorty, starring John Travolta, in a PG-13 movie, you can say F once.
Do you know that unless you're willing to use the R rating, you can only say the F word once?
You're kidding me?
No. You know what I say? F that.
And what I'll do is, whenever I do say F, I'll just bleep it out. Unless it is a F that I want to use. So technically, I only have one F to give. And, you know, I'll save that F in my pocket. If I want to use it, I'll use it. And if I feel like whenever I said F, it wasn't necessary, then I'll just bleep it out. So every episode, just be warned, there will be one F, because there's only one F I give per episode. One F only. Just one F. Allow me this one F. And finally, the one that I noticed the most, and it's totally my fault because I wasn't thinking about it at the time, was on the vintage lenses video. I listed a bunch of prices for different lenses, and I wrote them in ringgit, and I referred to them as dollars. By the time I'd uploaded it and saw a bunch of the comments about how people were a bit confused about that, I was like, I should have just put the currency exchange rate over there as well, or just put them in US dollars. So yeah, the currency thing, my bad, I should have been clearer about it, or at least put some kind of exchange rate or something. Some people actually commented and helped to convert the prices. To those of you that did, thank you very much. So from now on, what I'll be doing is, if I'm referring to something, if I bought it on eBay or whatever, usually the price will be in USD, I'll put them in USD. I'll put them in the prices that I found them in. I'll be a little bit more clearer with what currency we're talking about. That being said, out of all the people that ask this, and most people who comment in general, have been really, you know, I've been really digging it, because people are really nice and polite when they're commenting on stuff, even if there's something they're satisfied about, they're actually really polite about it, and I dig that. Some people just voice their concerns, but, you know, without any thought, but at the same time, it's not really hurting anyone, so, you know, whatever, your opinion, it's cool, it's the internet. And I was wondering when someone would actually write something where I'd be like, oh, that's a bit off. And it finally happened. By someone who calls himself Rick Grimes, you know, which is a shame because I like The Walking Dead.
Oh, no.
His comment was, US dollar equivalent, please. Understandable because, you know, a bunch of people have been asking about that. Totally fair. So yeah, US dollar equivalent, please. No one gives a crap about your third world currency. Yeah. Third world currency. That one, that stung a bit. You know, that actually, and the interesting thing about that one was I saw that comment on the day that the votes were coming in for the election in America. So it was kind of like, no one gives a crap about your third world currency, and Donald Trump just got elected as president. It was a bit of like, I couldn't help but connect the two together. That felt very, wow.
That was done purposely.
US dollar equivalent, please. You could have just ended it there, but you had to add the third world currency thing. Number one, we're not a third world. We're categorized as a developing nation. If you ask me, we're developing backwards because of a lot of crap that's been happening, but hey, a lot of crap's been happening all around the world. We're also a nation with about 13 million people who do give a crap about a currency because we're going through recession, prices are going up further and further, and of course we get a lot of our stuff imported. So, you know, our currency, we care about our currency because we also care about the US dollar. Your USD currency affects my third world currency. I gotta be honest, it was weird seeing that comment because it was like this borderline racist. Is it racist? It's judgmental at least. But yeah, it stung. It totally stung. Posted a picture on Instagram to show that comment with a very nice Trump quote.
We've become a third world country.
Because I wanted to figure out, am I the only one that thinks this is a messed up thing to say? And sure enough, a bunch of other Malaysians were like, wow, dude. It stung. It hurt. It was kind of mean. It was totally unnecessary. And you know how I said earlier this was a PG-13, you know, every video is going to be a PG-13 video, so there'll be only one to give? Well, guess what? Fuck you. That's right. The one was for you. You. So yeah, that's about it for Wednesday Lensday's video blog update. I'm not even sure what I'm going to call this yet. A bunch of other videos will be coming up. There's going to be videos on a whole bunch of the lenses that I own simply because, you know, when I'm trying to figure out whether or not to buy a lens, I'll research it, and when I can't find enough information about it, it gets pretty annoying. So if I can add to any of that, cool. I'll be doing some lighting tutorials. I'll actually show how I lit this video in this very, very tiny room. So that's going to be interesting because it's pretty DIY. It's just basically 3 LEDs. That video will be going up. A bunch of other videos as well about some of the stuff that I've shot, about different focal lengths. I've listed out a whole ton, and I can't wait to shoot them, and hopefully you guys enjoy them. So until then, thanks for watching. F you, Rick Grimes. Thanks again for watching this episode. I know it's more of a vlog than a usual Wednesday Lensday, but because it's pretty much about Wednesday Lensday, I figured I'd put it on this slot. And from here on in, it'll mostly be the usual Wednesday Lensday type stuff. In the meantime, there'll probably be vlogs on whichever days seem appropriate, and it'll probably be about different things, sometimes about lenses, sometimes about filmmaking, sometimes about completely random things. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not even quite sure what I'm gonna do with it yet. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe, because that's what people are supposed to say in moments like this. And once again, for the umpteenth time, thank you so much for watching.